Chapter 1. The morning after the war. Your orbital bone throbs in time with your pulse. It's a sickening, heavy rhythm. Last night, 3 million people watched you choke out Diego the Jackal Vargas in the center of the Vanguard Fighting Championship cage. The commentators screamed your name. The arena shook. You were the king of the world on global television. So why, 12 hours later, are you staring at the ceiling of a 2-star motel off the interstate, terrified to open your banking app? You swipe open the screen. The glaring white light burns your bruised retinas. Available balance: $14.32. You stare at it. You refresh the app. You close it and open it again. The number doesn't move. $14. You just co-main evented the biggest pay-per-view of the year. You bled on the canvas, you gave them a highlight reel finish that will be replayed in promotional promos for the next decade, and you can't afford a decent breakfast. The fans think when the referee raises your hand, a man in a suit immediately hands you an oversized novelty check with a string of zeros. They think the victory roar comes with a mansion and a sports car. They are idiots. The reality of the combat sports business is that victory is just the first step in a long, bureaucratic mugging. And the people holding the knives aren't your opponents. They're the ones smiling in your corner and shaking your hand backstage. Chapter 2. The Phantom Purse. Let's rewind. 3 months ago, your manager, Slick, Jimmy Valero, calls you. He's breathless. He got you the Vargas fight. It's a show-win contract. $40,000 to show up, $40,000 if you win. 80 grand total. To a guy who's been fighting for loose change in regional armories, 80 grand sounds like lottery money. You sign the paper, you don't read the fine print, and you immediately start spending it in your head. That's your first mistake. You see, the moment you sign that bout agreement, you aren't rich. You are heavily in debt. You just agreed to fund a 3-month military operation out of your own future, theoretical pockets. You need an 8-week training camp. The VFC doesn't pay for your camp. They just expect you to show up looking like a superhero. So, you hire a striking coach, a grappling coach, and a strength and conditioning guy. Then comes the medicals, MRIs, blood panels, EKGs, eye exams. The athletic commission mandates them, but they don't pay for them. Neither does the promoter. That's $2,000 on a credit card before you've even thrown a punch. You need bodies to spar with, professional bodies. You have to fly in guys who mimic Vargas's style, put them up in a hotel, and pay them a weekly rate so they can try to give you brain damage every Tuesday and Thursday. Chapter 3. The Parasite Ecosystem. Now, let's do the math. On the morning after, you won. You secured the full $80,000. Now, watch it vanish. First, the tax man. As an independent contractor, taxes aren't withheld. You better set aside 30% immediately. That leaves 56 grand. Next up is Jimmy Valero, the manager. Industry standard is 20% of the gross. Not the net, the gross. So Jimmy takes $16,000 for making 3 phone calls and wearing a nice watch. We are down to 40 grand. Now, the gym needs its cut. 10% of the gross for the team and head coach. There goes another 8,000, down to 32. Now subtract the camp expenses. 6,000 for the sparring partners, 3,000 for the nutritionist who boiled 20 pounds of water out of my organs, 2,000 for the pre-fight medicals. Subtract the flights for your cornerman because the promoter only pays for 1 flight and you needed 3 guys. That's another 3 grand. You are sitting here with about $18,000 to your name for 3 months of literal torture. And here is the punchline. I lived on credit cards for the last 4 months to survive because I couldn't work a day job while training twice a day. The remaining 18 grand, it all went to Visa and MasterCard the second the wire hit yesterday. 0. Chapter 4. The Show Money Trap. Let's talk about the Vanguard Fighting Championships business model. They love the show and win structure. Why? Because it weaponizes our desperation. It forces the fighter to assume all the financial risk of the event. If you had lost last night, if you got caught with a wild hook in the first round, you would have only made the 40,000 show money. Run those same deductions on 40 grand. You wouldn't just be at 0, you'd be facing bankruptcy. They tell you, It incentivizes finishing fights. No, it incentivizes fighting injured. You walked into the cage last night with a torn meniscus. You didn't tell the doctors, and you didn't tell the promotion. If you pull out of the fight because you're hurt, you get paid absolutely nothing. Zero. But the expenses of the training camp? You still owe all of that. So you wrap it in tape, take a handful of ibuprofen, and limp into the fire. You are an independent contractor who is forbidden from fighting anywhere else, forbidden from wearing your own sponsors, and forced to show up at their specific time and place. It's the ultimate control, with zero liability for them. Chapter 5. The Promotional Squeeze. 10 years ago, a guy on the main card could make 60 grand just in sponsorships. You'd slap a local car dealership logo on your ass, an energy drink on your banner, and you'd walk away with a real paycheck regardless of the fight's outcome. Then, the VFC signed the exclusive apparel deal. They sold the rights to our bodies to a massive shoe company for $100 million. They claimed it was to legitimize the sport, make us look uniform, like real athletes. The reality? The VFC kept the $100 million. Our cut? We get a mandatory outfitting pay based on our tenure. For my fight last night, my mandatory apparel payout was exactly $2,500. They stole 50 grand of your independent sponsorship leverage and replaced it with an allowance that barely covers your supplements. You want to wear a hat from a brand that actually pays you during fight week? They'll fine you 10 grand. It is a brilliant, ruthless corporate squeeze. They own the real estate of your flesh and they rent it out to the highest bidder while you bleed on the logo. You are not a partner. You are the product. Chapter 6. Taking Back Leverage. You stare at the $14 in your account. Panic is useless. Despair is for the weak. You didn't survive 15 minutes in a locked cage with a killer by giving up. You need a solution, and you need it now. Right on cue, my phone buzzes. It's Jimmy. Tommy, incredible war last night. The brass loved it. They want you back in 5 weeks against the Russian kid Volkov. 45 to show, 45 to win. I'll send the contract. There it is. The trap resets. 5 weeks means no rest, no healing for your knee, and jumping straight back into another camp to fight an undefeated monster for a $5,000 bump. Jimmy wants his 20% again before Christmas. You reply, I'm not signing, and you're fired, Jimmy. You hit send. Your hand is shaking, but not from the adrenaline of the fight. It's from the realization that, if you don't play the villain now, you will die a broke hero. You fire your manager because he doesn't work for you. He works for his relationship with the matchmakers. He needs them to feed his stable of fighters. He will happily sacrifice you on short notice to keep the promoter happy. You are your own manager now. Chapter 7. The Hostage Negotiation. You don't go home. You stay in the host city. Monday morning, you walk straight into the VFC headquarters. You don't have an appointment. You walk past the receptionist, ignoring her protests, and step into the office of Marcus Thorne, the head matchmaker. Marcus is annoyed. Tommy, what the hell are you doing here? You should be resting. Did Jimmy talk to you about Volkov? I sit down across from him, uninvited. I put my phone on his desk, showing the $14 balance. Jimmy is gone, I tell him. I just put on the fight of the night. It's trending #1 on social media. I am the viral clip of the month. And I am entirely, completely broke, Marcus. I have nothing to lose. He gives me the corporate spin. Tommy, you're building your brand. You win a few more, you'll be in title contention. I cut him off. I'm not fighting Volkov for 45 grand. I'm not fighting anyone until we tear up this contract. You need me right now, I say. Volkov's original opponent pulled out. The Russian card is falling apart, and you need a name the fans recognize to feed to your new star. I am the only guy crazy enough to take that fight. Chapter 8. Blood Money. Marcus stares at me. He realizes I'm not the dumb, grateful kid who signed that first contract. What do you want, Tommy? The tone shifts. We are no longer family. We are two sharks circling the same piece of meat. I want a flat fee, I tell him. No show, win bullshit. I want $150,000 guaranteed to walk into that cage with Volkov. And I want 50 grand as a signing bonus, wired to my account by noon today. He scoffs. We don't do flat fees for non-champions. I stand up. Then find someone else to save your main event. I turn toward the door. It's the hardest walk of my life. If he lets me leave, my career might actually be over. Wait. Marcus sighs, rubbing his temples. The math in his head is done. Losing the Russian main event costs the company millions in TV rights. Paying me a flat 150 is a rounding error to them. Fine. But you better bleed for us, Tommy. I walk out of the building. By noon, my phone buzzes. The banking app shows $50,000. I didn't win the lottery. I didn't change the corrupt system. I just learned how to hold the knife. This business will chew you up and spit out your bones if you let it. They sell glory, but we trade in blood and leverage. Next month, I'll go to war with a Russian giant. But this time, I'm making sure the check clears before I even take off my sweatpants. Welcome to the fight game.